Good morning. It is Monday, December the 9th. I'm so excited to be back here live with you again here inside of High Performer Lifestyle. If you're new to the group, welcome. I'm Jessica Perez-Beebe, and I go live Monday through Friday at 6:45, with the exception of the last week of the month, which is my flex week, which eventually I hope that you can adopt if you are an entrepreneur. Not everybody here is. Good morning, Catherine. And so that is the only time that I do not go live, or, if for some reason I'm traveling and it doesn't work out. So I'm excited to talk about today's topic. I mean, honestly, I had been thinking, I have so much stuff that I want to talk to you guys about that is of good content. And actually, if you haven't shared, look, my daughter got me this for Christmas. We had Thanksgiving, Christmas. But anyway, I don't want to digress. If you haven't taken the new poll, please do that as soon as you finish watching this live, because it's really going to support the rest of this month and going into January. I can't tell you how fired up I am for what has been going on in my life personally and professionally, which I'm going to be sharing. I'm very open about all of that when it can support you, which I believe that many of it can. But I need you to take that poll because it's really going to help me, because I don't want to be up here just talking about stuff that I think is valuable for you. I want to know what is valuable for you. Okay, so let's get into today's topic. I want to talk about something that so a lot of times people don't talk about, right? The darker side of motivation, the darker side of inspiration, right? How to use something dark, something that you're not proud of, something that you're disgusted by. This is something we talk about in my Get Set method, how to actually use that to wake you up and propel you forward. I'm gonna share with you how one of the ways that this worked in my own life, and how I use it right now and just recently in my life, okay? So listen, I often work with driven people, women and men, but mostly women, driven people who have had success in different areas of their life, right? You've had success, you've created big results, money, maybe fitness, maybe career, whatever it is. However, there's an area of your life that you lack consistency in, right? Or there's a time in your life where you fall into self-doubt, you start to worry, you have fears, you start to hold yourself back, you play small, right? You're not actually operating like the high performer that you have operated at in the past. So I often work with people like this. And one of the tools that I'm going to share with you today is one of the things that I use to help them break through wherever they're holding back in. This is one of the tools. And this is one of the tools that I constantly go to over and over in my life. If this is where I start, right? If I feel like there's an area that I'm slacking in. Okay. So I want to share with you just a personal story really quickly, if I can. May 16th, 2004. I can't even believe it's been that long. I was in a corporate job. The truth is, I did not like this job at all. I had said I was going to leave several times, and I stayed because of the money, right? More money was thrown at me, and I stayed because of the money, and I thought I had a great job, and I just thought, you know what? Suck it up and deal with it. You're lucky to have a great job. So I was 26 at the time, and I was flying home from Florida. I was on an airplane, headed back to Delaware from Florida from a business trip. And little did I know that while I was flying home, my mother at the same time was in a car accident that would instantly take her life. And what that led to for me, without going into the details, right? You can imagine those pieces, but what that led to, that event, led to an awakening in my mind, right, about the urgency of life. There I was on an airplane flying home from a job that I really hated. And this is not about work or entrepreneurship or anything like that. It's about the fact that in my life, I was settling, not just in my job, but in my relationships, the way that I was living my life, right? Because we get sucked into a cycle where we start to play small, where we start to hold back, where we start to make excuses for staying in situations that we know are not good for us. We start to do that in other areas. And that's what I was doing in all areas of my life. And so that moment that my aunt gave me the call and I came over to her house and found out that while I was flying over Philadelphia to land in Delaware, my mother was in that car accident that would instantly take her life. It was very soon after that my mind opened up to the fact that life was really, in this moment right now, was all that was promised to me, right? We know this. We inherently know this. We know this on a intellectual level, but we don't always live this way. And what happened for me is I took a hard look at myself and I looked around at my life. It started with the job that I was in. Then I looked at the relationship that I was in. Then I looked at the lifestyle that I was living. And you know what? I was completely disgusted. That's the topic of what we're talking about today. I was utterly disgusted by the way that I was living my life, right? I was in a job where I was being harassed and I was staying for the money. I was staying for the money. The truth is I was young, I was smart, I was, driven. I could have went out and done anything else. I wasn't married and had kids that I had to support, right? I had options. We always have options, but I was settling. Not only was I settling in that area, I was in a relationship that I knew was the wrong relationship for me. I was living a lifestyle that was really toxic, drinking, staying out late, just really deadening my senses. And you know why? Because I wasn't living the quality of life that I actually desired, because I was afraid. I was afraid. I didn't have the guts at that time to go out there and risk things, to go out there and be uncomfortable. I didn't have the examples in my life, which is just another excuse, right? I didn't have the examples of how to do that. But the truth is, there's examples all around us. We can look outside of our immediate circles to get influence for how we want to live and what we want to do and what we want to change. So in that moment, very soon after my mother died, it was that utter disgust of, wow, this is the way you're choosing to live your life. Inside, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't know how to do it. So not knowing how, or not knowing if I could make it, not knowing what people would say about me, leaving a job that paid me money, all of those things, those fears about, well, what if, and I don't know, they held me back. But in that moment, I realized, wow, my life could be gone in an instant, just like my mother's life was gone. And you know what? She went to the grave with all of her dreams and ambitions buried inside of her. And talk about disgust. I was so disgusted with myself that I knew I was living below my potential. And if you're listening to this now and it resonates with you in a certain area of your life, where in a certain area of your life, maybe one area, maybe two, maybe three, that you're living way below your potential, maybe you're smoking too much, or smoking period, maybe you're drinking, maybe you're in a relationship that's abusive or that's empty, maybe you are holding back in pursuing the career that you want, whatever it is, maybe it's your fitness, maybe you're disgusted with the way your body is. What I'm sharing with you here, this disgust piece, listen, we can motivate by positivity, but we can also motivate and inspire in our lives for ourselves and for others by whatever it is that we are disgusted by the dark stuff. Because guess what? It's a part of who we are. Everything is not roses and rainbows. But if you can look at that like I did, wow, I'm really disgusted by the way I'm living. I'm really disgusted by the fact that I'm staying because of money. I'm really disgusted that I'm in this shitty relationship that I know is below my potential, and that I'm putting these things in my body, and then I'm doing I'm so disgusted by that. If you can use that to catapult you into what you want to do, to wake you the hell up, like I did and like I've done in all areas of my life, with smoking, before this, with my physical body, right? Like if you can use, with my financial situation, if you can use that disgust at different areas of your life to actually wake you up and open your eyes to what it is you actually do desire, right? Because if you're disgusted by it, it means you know that you are meant for something more. You are meant for the opposite of that. Is this making sense to you? So if you can identify that, guess what? Being disgusted by something in your life is like the best thing that can happen to you. It's the best thing that can happen to you, because I look at that moment, right, that what happened with my mother, almost as a gift from her and a gift from God to wake me the heck up. And if you can use those moments right now in your life, be honest with yourself. What in your life are you completely disgusted by, or have you had enough of, and that you know you're inflicting on yourself? Because everyone here that's watching is an adult, right? So identify that area and then use it to identify what it is you actually do want. Don't have it bring you so down that then you're paralyzed by inaction or by indecision. Use it to fire you the hell up. Use it to light you up. Use it to get you ready to go into 2020 with like a fire and a commitment and a drive in you that you have never tasted before. Don't go into 2020 setting another stupid resolution. Right? Like that's just such an average, like setting yourself up to fail way of looking at life. It's not about resolutions. It's about, what are you committed to doing differently? What are you committed to going all in with? This week, we're going to be talking about what it takes to go all in and what the reward is, and literally the practical things that it takes. It's not about setting goals. It's not about setting a resolution. You need to get honest with yourself like I did in those moments. You need to get honest with yourself about how you are the one that's keeping you back from whatever it is that you want. The truth is, you really can have whatever it is you want. It just depends on what you're willing to do, and it starts with how you're willing to think. What are you willing to believe is possible for you? And then what are you willing to do to have that be a reality? And in the meantime, how are you willing to live your life? How are you willing to live your life? So I want to hear from some of you. I want you to wake up, right? What are you hearing right now? What is landing for you? Is there something that you can share honestly that you're disgusted by right now in your life that you are ready to shift? That you are ready to completely change your way of thinking about it, and you're actually committed to doing what it takes to shift that, to make that different, to make that a new reality. You know, one of my mentors in mindset, not Louise Hay, Esther Hicks, always says that, like, the contrast, right? Recognizing what it is that's going on in your life that you don't want, that contrast is your launching pad for what you do want. Like, celebrate that, right? Celebrate that. So those of you who are on here right now, don't just listen. Like, don't just be a spectator in life. Don't just listen to this message. Interact, right? Like, comment, communicate. Like, this is one of the things that I see so often with people that want to create a high performer life or a high performer result. They want to break through something. They're sick of just being in this average day-to-day life, but they are not willing to do what is not average. It's average to sit back and just scroll on social media, to just watch people, to come up with judgments, and to sit back in the comfort of your home behind your computer. It's not average to watch a live like this and communicate, right? Interact, engage. In our leadership program, we say, like, there's two mentalities. The person who shows up to like a workshop or a training or a coach, and they're just laid back and they're like, okay, do me, teach me, come on, give me what you got. No, that is a shitty way to live your life. Start showing up and like lean in, like, okay, what can I contribute to this? Let me hear this. Let me interpret this. Let me put myself out there too, right? Like, get involved in whatever you're doing, get involved in your life, right? Like, look at the areas in your life that you know you're at a 5, a 7, even a 9, and ask yourself, what's it going to take for me to be a 10? This is the end of a decade, you guys. This is the end of a decade. And I don't know about you, but I am flipping fired up about 2020. And I'm not letting anything get in my way. I'm not letting anything get in my way. And it starts right here. So what are you committed to acknowledging right now in your life? None of you have communicated right now. Not trying to call you out, but I'm just saying, look at that as feedback for where are you not showing up? Where are you not going all in? Where are you not using your voice? Right? Where are you not using your voice? So I challenge you to look at your life, define an area that you know you are subpar right now, and ask yourself, what am I committed to doing differently that will have this area of my life move up to a 10? It's not about being perfect, but it certainly is about pursuing excellence in your life. So as you can see, you guys, I'm fired up. If you come back every day this week, I'm going to be even more fired up because I've got topics to talk to you about that are going to have you, boom, flip a switch in your mind and think differently to create an exceptional life. That's what we're here to do. I will see you tomorrow live at 6:45. Bye, guys. Come on, throw some comments in here. I'll be back in to share with you, to interact with you later. Have a great day. Peace out.